8 mice were placed inside what seemed like a perfect world. 4 males, 4 females. They had unlimited food, unlimited water, comfortable shelter, and protection from disease and predators. Nothing threatened them. Nothing challenged them. By all appearances, they were living in paradise. Yet less than 5 years later, every single mouse was dead. Not from starvation, not from illness, not from predators. The reason is far more disturbing. This experiment became known as Universe 25, and decades later it is still one of the most debated studies ever conducted. The project was created by researcher John Calhoun, who wanted to explore a question that sounds simple but has enormous implications. What happens when a society has everything it needs to survive? To find out, Calhoun designed a carefully controlled environment for mice. Food was constantly available, water never ran out, the temperature remained stable year-round. Every effort was made to remove the hardships animals normally face in the wild. Then he introduced 8 healthy mice and began observing. For months, very little happened. The mice explored their surroundings, established nesting areas, and adapted to their new environment. Then, the population started growing. And growing. And growing. Within a year, hundreds of mice occupied the enclosure. At first, this seemed like proof that the experiment was working exactly as intended. But beneath the surface, cracks were beginning to appear. In the wild, younger mice eventually leave crowded territories and establish lives of their own. Inside Universe 25, that option didn't exist. There was nowhere else to go. As new generations appeared, many younger males struggled to find a role within the colony. They owned no territory, held no status, and had little influence over the social structure. Some became passive and withdrawn. Others became unusually aggressive. Normal patterns of behavior slowly began breaking down. Researchers noticed increasing social disorder throughout the colony. Competition became chaotic. Nesting behavior changed. Family structures weakened. The most surprising development came from a group Calhoun later nicknamed the Beautiful Ones. These mice appeared physically perfect. Their fur was clean. Their bodies showed almost no signs of injury. They spent most of their time eating, sleeping, and grooming themselves, but they showed little interest in reproduction, territory, or social interaction. They looked healthy, yet they had effectively removed themselves from society. As years passed, birth rates continued falling. Fewer young mice survived. More adults stopped reproducing. Eventually, the colony reached a point where no new offspring were being born at all. The food was still there. The water was still there. The shelters remained untouched. Yet the population continued shrinking. One generation grew old, and there was no generation behind it. Finally, in 1973, the last mouse died. Universe 25 had come to an end. Many people looked at the experiment and concluded that comfort itself was the problem. But Calhoun's interpretation was different. He believed the colony collapsed because more and more mice lost meaningful roles within their social structure. The resources never disappeared. The sense of purpose did. Without clear roles, responsibilities, or connections, the colony slowly stopped functioning as a society. Whether that lesson applies directly to humans is still debated today. Humans are not mice. We build cultures, communities, ideas, careers, and entirely new ways of creating meaning. But Universe 25 leaves us with a question that remains difficult to ignore. If survival is guaranteed, what gives life purpose? And what happens when people stop feeling needed?